Aquemini by OutKast is one of the most well-renowned hip-hop albums of all time, and for good reason. Following the release of ATLiens, Andre 3000 and Big Boi promptly started working on a new project. This project featured some of that conscious, lyrical content from ATLiens, while also bringing back some of that G-Funk feeling that was on Southern Playalistic Cadillac music. The result was Aquemini, a combination of Aquarius and Gemini, the two member star signs. This was a worldwide success and ended up being the first Southern hip-hop album to earn a 5 mic rating from the Source magazine, which was a huge deal at the time. While this entire album is amazing, I'm here to talk about 2 songs in particular. The Art of Storytelling Part 1 and 2 tell 2 different stories, but communicate the same theme of how greed can make one take advantage of their provider. If you enjoy my videos, consider dropping a like, and let's get started. Part 1 tells 2 stories, one from each member. The first comes from Big Boi, who tells us about his experience with a local prostitute who he gives the name Susie Screw. This verse is pretty self-explanatory, but it's important that I go over it. Let's say her name was Susie Screw because she screwed a lot. He's aware Susie Screw has sex with many different men to make a living and has a high probability of having an STD, describing her as safe as a snake on eggs, but wants to hit anyways. But I still want to cut her though, maybe she had to work. I caught her in the mall wearing a real tight skirt. She was fine as I wanted to sex the hoe up. She said, let's hit the parking lot so I can sick your duck. I said, cool, I really want to cut you, but this'll do. I gotta pick up my daughter, plus my baby mama beat me too. She said she understood and everything was kosher. I gave her Lil Will CD and a fucking poster. It's like that now. He ends up only getting head from her so he can quickly get back to his daughter and her mother and gives Susie Screw a CD and a poster instead of paying her. This verse sets the stage, showing how Big Boi views this woman as just an expendable buddy with no deeper thoughts or emotions. It's like that now. You better go on and get the hump about your back now. It's about 4 or 5 cats off in my lack now. We just shoot game in the form of story raps now. It's like that now. It's like that now. The chorus reveals the objective of this song, which is essentially being an outlet for Andre and Big Boi to open up about traumatic events that have happened in their life. As we will learn in the next verse, this is not a happy song, and sometimes venting the problems on your mind in a hip-hop song is more effective than hiring a therapist. The second verse comes from Andre 3000, rapping about Susie Screw's partner, Sasha Thumper. Now, Susie Screw had a partner named Sasha Thumper. Teenage Andre finds himself at a slumber party with Sasha. Andre and Sasha are under the stars having a conversation when Andre asks her what she wants to be when she grows up. I said, what you want to be? She said, alive. This one-word answer catches Dre off guard, opening his eyes to the harsh reality of some women who are fearful for their lives every day. Many years pass by and Andre has become a successful rapper, but lost contact with Sasha in the process. He talks to her mother to find out that she is out at her abusive boyfriend's house. I came back home to find though Sasha was gone. Her mother said she was with a that be treating her wrong. I kept on singing my song and hoping at a show that one day I'd see her standing in the front row. Andre is unable to help with the situation and just hopes that Sasha will show up to one of his concerts and try to reconnect. A couple days later, Sasha's dead body is found outside a school from a drug overdose while 7 months pregnant. Sasha's only desire in life was to be alive, and that wish was not fulfilled. Both of these verses show Big Boi and Andre's experiences with women who have hit an all-time low in their lives. One having to sell their body to live, and the other struggling with drug addiction and an abusive relationship. This theme carries over to part 2, where the duo draws comparisons between how society treats our women to how humans treat the earth. The end of part 1 features a skit between a grandma, a lady named Keisha, and 2 children. The grandma warns Keisha that there's a violent storm outside with lightning and thunder. This frightens the children, but the grandma comforts them by saying, baby, don't be scared, it's gonna be alright, it's just the Lord doing his work, okay? Part 2 reveals that the storm was not just the Lord doing his work, as we are now in an apocalypse. Baby, did you hear that? Yeah, baby, I heard it too. Look out the window, golly, the sky is electric blue. Andre sets the stage for this apocalypse, showing that people are freaking out and don't know what's happening. The next line, Mama Earth is dying and crying because of you, shows that this apocalypse isn't just something that's happening out of nowhere, but a byproduct of how humans have been treating the earth. I'm on the telephone dialing the dungeon. This is Dre, bring the MP and the SP, meet me at the center of the earth and travel carefully. Andre figures that if the world is ending, he wants to be making music while it happens. The MP and SP are samplers that they use. The next few lines really tie these 2 parts together. Played the track, guess she could not take it anymore. Her heavenly body like a etc. Coochie so, from constantly her, never loving her, never showing appreciation, busting nuts in her face when they done. Andre draws an analogy between the way humans have destroyed the earth to the way some men sexually abuse women. In the same way a woman is taken advantage of, only valued for her body, the earth is being taken advantage of for its resources while we don't do a great job taking care of it. In this sense, Mother Nature is being by the way humans are treating the planet they live on. In the transition between Andre and Big Boi's verses, the line, "Who said good folks is not supposed to die," is played. The apocalypse is happening, and even those who have done nothing wrong to the earth are facing the consequences of humanity's actions. Big Boi starts off his verse with this line, "The sky is falling, nobody balling, they done gave back they guns for some tickets to the playoffs, but the Hornets they won." This speaks to how most members of society would rather ignore what's happening around them, no matter how bad or unjust, and go on with everyday life, going to a playoff game. Giving up their guns is a metaphor for giving up to fight for the planet they live on, accepting their fate instead of fighting for their environment. Since we know part 1 and part 2 are tackling the same theme just in different ways, this line also speaks about how many people who are aware of the abuse a lot of women face would rather ignore it and try to entertain themselves than speak up and fight for what's right. We slum, I kept all the guns, I gotta protect my family. Big Boi expresses that he will not give up his guns and will continue to fight for the earth no matter what. His family could be referencing all of humanity here, as well as fighting for the planet benefits everyone who inhabits it. Big Boi continues to rap about making it to the dungeon to record one last song, just like Andre talked about in his verse, and paints the picture of how unsettling the area looks during the apocalypse. Clear blue skies during the end of the world, nobody out on their porch when it's a sunny day, and hallucinations of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse create a very eerie atmosphere. Writing the raps and doing the beats to make this last recording, abortion, I got in the booth to run the final portion, the beat was very dirty and the vocals had distortion. These final bars from Big Boi show that he was able to make it to the dungeon in time to record the last song ever released. The abortion here isn't actually referencing aborting fetuses, but rather quitting on something before being done with it. He was determined to get this song out before the world ended, and as revealed in the final bar, the beat was very dirty and the vocals had distortion. That song being recorded was the song playing all along. The line, "Who said good folks is supposed to die," is repeated again, and a haunting voice repeats the line, "All's well, nothing's well." This is a corruption of the common idiom, "All's well that ends well." This idiom speaks to the fact that one can forget how difficult something may have been because it all ended up fine in the end. "All's well, nothing's well" is the opposite of this, showing that people would rather view the world around them as perfect, all's well, even though corruption and injustice is everywhere, nothing's well. Part 1 sets the stage for how society views women, showing how they can be objectified and written off in Big Boi's verse, and showing the harsh reality of life for some of them in Andre's verse. Part 2 builds on this idea, describing an apocalypse caused by humanity's lack of care for the earth, drawing parallels between how men treat women in society. I believe that OutKast was trying to communicate that if the earth and women are not treated right, an apocalypse of sorts will be coming. The earth is a provider for us to live on, and women are providers for our population, so if we don't treat both with respect and care, we will face repercussions as a species. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any ideas for other songs/albums I should analyze next, drop them in the comments. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing. I make lots of analysis videos like this, and you can click below if you want to see another analysis video on Almighty So by Chief Keef. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in 2 weeks. Peace.